Hello everyone, welcome to another movie review. I just got done seeing Creed 3, starring and directed by Michael B. Jordan. This is his first movie he's directed, and I gotta say, he did a very, very good job for his first film. Obviously, he was in the other two Creed films, and, he's worked with pretty much, I assume it's all the same crew, obviously a lot of the same cast. So he's familiar with, all that, and, he's been in movies for a while now, and it's funny too because I'm actually watching The Wire right now, which is a show that everybody praises as one of the greatest shows ever made. And I realized because he's in the season 1, which I'm on right now. He is a very young actor in that, and I was surprised to see he's actually been acting for quite a long time because like I said, he was a kid in The Wire season 1. So he's been around for a while actually, and to me, relatively new because I didn't see him in anything until. I think it might have been Creed 1 was the first thing I ever saw him in, because I didn't watch Chronicle until, actually last year, so, which is also another, good movie. So yeah, he's been around for a hot minute, and now that he's taken up the director seat, like, Stallone did for the Rocky films, for most of the Rocky films, it's cool to see, and like I said, did a great job. The film visually was really, really cool. The fight scenes in particular, what I really love about the Creed films in particular, the fight scenes just get better and better. Like the stylistic choices, in the movies, because this one, man, this is probably the best yet so far in terms of the fighting in all the films, including the Rocky films. I love the Rocky movies, but all the fights were pretty much all shot the same way, had the same sort of thing going on. Whereas each Creed movie, I feel like they upped the level of filmmaking when it comes to the fights. So this one, really cool. I've been hearing a lot of talk about how Michael B. Jordan's actually a huge anime fan, and he incorporated anime influences into the fights, which I could see that too, And there's really cool use of slow motion and certain camera angles, and once you see it, you'll know what I mean. It's really well done. Jonathan Majors, you guys already know what I'm about to say. This guy is incredible. Still think his best performance I've seen him in was The Last Black Man in San Francisco. But this film was yet again another great performance. He was intimidating. He was scary. Again, he's a villain. Obviously, he's right now. Ant-Man 3 is still in theaters. He's the villain in that, so it's pretty funny. Ant-Man 3, Creed 3. And this guy's in both as the villain at the same time, as they're playing in the theaters. This guy has a bright future ahead of him. Excellent job. Honestly, I think out of all three Creed films, he's probably my favorite villain out of all three. I love the whole Ivan Drago thing in Creed 2 and his son Victor Drago, who is also in this film, Victor Drago. Much smaller part, but it's still cool to see him. I like that whole dynamic in the second film, but to me, I feel like Jonathan Majors' character had more going on and was a lot more interesting. And then, in Creed 1, you had the guy, Conlon, which, he was okay. He was just a fine, first villain, I guess. Whereas in this film, you have a much more personal connection with the villain, because obviously, if you've seen the trailers, Jonathan Majors' character, Dame, has a past with Adonis, which is cool to see, actually, because in the Rocky films, the villains were always, up-and-coming boxers. It was never somebody from, Rocky's past. You know what I mean? So it's cool to see, they're finding new ways to incorporate villains, give them, interesting backstories that are, fresh. So I like that, And this film also, surprisingly, has a great... I don't want to say surprisingly, because pretty much all the Rocky films and all the Creed films have, I was going to say a great family dynamic. Because, you see the relationship between Rocky and Adrian, and then, their son growing up and all that. And whereas, in these films you have Bianca, and now, in Creed 2 they had a child together, and you see the child is a couple years older now, and she, I don't think it's a spoiler. That's not really a spoiler. They pretty much revealed in the second film that the child is deaf, because, Bianca has the progressive hearing loss. So there's a lot of sign language in this movie, and it's done really well. And the daughter actually plays a pretty big part in this film, and I'm excited to see what happens. I'll just say this: I'm pretty sure they're going to make a Creed 4. They're going to continue. I don't know how long it's going to be because at this point it's almost been 5 years since the last Creed. So, but it's interesting to see her character is actually going to turn out to be something. I think so. That's going to be cool. And again, of course, Tessa Thompson as Bianca was great. The whole dynamic with her and Michael B. Jordan is totally natural. Like, these guys play off each other perfectly. You really believe that they're a real couple. Faisal Rashad, of course, plays Mary Ann Creed, the widow of Apollo, and the woman who raised Adonis. She's, again, very good in this. And again, part of the family dynamic. It works really well in this. The film does get very emotional at times. I actually almost cried at one point. And actually, I'll do a spoiler section at the end because I want to specifically say what it was. It's a specific, people who see the movie will know what I'm talking about, but it's a specific thing that's said during that moment that I don't know what it was. I got really emotional. Now, I got to address this too. A lot of people going into this movie, well, everyone going into this movie, first thing they thought, where is Rocky, right? So, obviously, if you guys know the behind-the-scenes drama, Sylvester Stallone has an issue with Irwin Winkler, the producer, on every single Rocky and Creed film from the beginning. So, from what I understand, Rocky was created by Stallone because he wrote Rocky, right? But he does not own the rights to the character. The rights belong to Irwin Winkler, the producer. And Stallone feels that all the work, all the decades that he's put into this character, the directing the films, doing the boxing, everything, all the work he's put into this franchise, he feels he deserves to own the rights to the character and leave the character to his family when he's gone, and he can leave the legacy of Rocky to his family, whatever money it makes or, whatever. Which, I totally agree with that. If you created something, like, no matter what contracts or whatever legal bullshit there is, I feel like you are entitled to it. So I'm on Stallone's side with this 100%. I'm not one of those people that's going to boycott this movie. Obviously, I went to go see it because, frankly, I feel like the Creed character at this point is able to stand on his own, and he did. This movie didn't need Rocky. As much as I really wanted him to, hey, he could have had a quick cameo or whatever, he didn't need to have a huge role. But the movie was fine without Rocky, But I will say this, there's one point in the film where I was like, Rocky should be here for this. You'll know what it is when you see it. It doesn't make sense story-wise why he wouldn't be there for something like this. But, it is what it is. So, anyways, yeah, Stallone has a grudge against this producer. He even said, hey, if they make a Creed 4 or whatever, I'll come back as long as Irwin Winkler is not involved. So, hopefully they can all sort this out. Again, Rocky doesn't necessarily need to come back. I'm fine. The way things wrapped up in Creed 2 with him, going to see his son and, and seeing his grandson, saying he looks just like Adrian, that was, for me, that was fine. If that's the last time we ever see Rocky, I'm content with that, So, again, it is what it is, So don't worry if you're a huge Rocky fan, if you're a diehard Stallone fan, you can enjoy this movie, believe me. Like, I'm sure, I don't think there's any issues, but there's no bad blood between Stallone and anybody else aside from Irwin Winkler. Like Michael B. Jordan, I'm sure he had nothing to do with the, what's going on there. So don't boycott this movie. I understand if you're, I get it, but and I don't know if I said this. I feel like this is my least favorite of the 3 Creed films. It's not bad by any means. I just think the first 2 are better. Something about this one this movie is definitely a lot simpler than the first 2, which isn't a bad thing. But I don't know. It felt like it had less going on, like, thematically. I don't know. Like, the first 2 had a lot more going on, basically. So, I don't know. But again, this movie's not bad by any means. Also, for the first time, this is not a spoiler, there's no Rocky, obviously. This is the first time ever in this franchise, no Philadelphia. The movie entirely takes place in California. So, yeah, no Philadelphia either. So, no Rocky steps, no, So, again, it's like, all right, this is a passing of the torch. This is now about Adonis Creed, which, again, I'm fine with that. You know, this movie was great. As much as I'd love to see Rocky return, you know, it's fine. We had him for 8 movies, you know, it's totally fine at this point. So, my rating for this movie, I'm going to give this one an 8.5. It's not quite a 9, you know. The first 2 films, I think I gave those 9s. The first one being the best. Second one, I like the first Creed the best, actually. Creed 2 was still excellent, you know. So this one's going to be an 8.5 for me, a little bit below the other ones, but, you know, still very good. I don't know if I have much else to say. You know, all the acting was good, the story was fine, and, again, Jonathan Majors, excellent, man, excellent. But yeah, that's about it, I think. So, how would you rank all the... You don't have to include the Rocky movies unless you really want to. How would you rank all 9 movies? Or just the 3 Creed films, if you want. And, you know, how would you rate them and whatnot? If you know, go on my Letterboxd, I have a whole list of how I rank all the movies, and, you know, so go check that out if you want. So, let me know what you thought about the film in the comments, and if you haven't seen it, please leave the video, because I'm about to talk a little bit of spoilers. It's not going to be too long, but I just wanted to address it. So, spoiler time. So, what I was referring to earlier, which I'm sure you guys know, so when Mary Ann passes away, which is a very sad scene, why wouldn't Rocky be at her funeral? I mean, come on. Maybe they could explain he was busy with something, or, you know, I don't know. He could have came for that. I mean, I don't know. It just, Rocky should have been there for that. I feel like, you know, let's say Stallone never had any bad blood at all, and the way Creed 2 ended was, okay, we'll retire the character that way. He could have made a little cameo at the funeral in this one, I think, and that would have been okay. You know, I think they could have did that, because the movie didn't need Stallone to be in this major role, you know, is what I'm saying. I'm sure that could have happened. But it is what it is, you know. He wasn't going to be in this movie, so I understand. So what I was referring to earlier, so the scene where Mary is on her deathbed, again, very emotional. But when she started calling Adonis Apollo, I don't know what it was. I got chills. I started tearing up, and she started explaining, like, you know, she started saying to Adonis, "You've made me," or she was saying, like, she was talking to Apollo. She's like, "Adonis has made me forgive you," which, man, I don't know what that was that was something right there. As a lifelong Rocky fan, that was something right there. Yeah, that was impactful right there. So, you know, it was very well done. You know, what I love about the Rocky movies, every single one, even Rocky 5, which is not good, can hit you in the feels. Like, really hit you in the feels. You know, even the cheesy ones. Rocky 3 has its cheese in it. Rocky 4 is cheesy. You know, Rocky 5. The Mickey scene in Rocky 5, I'll always talk about. The Mickey scene in Rocky 5 will always make me cry. Yeah, these movies are great. These are great feel-good movies right here. I mean, you know, they got their sad moments, obviously, but very uplifting movies, very inspirational movies. So, again, I think that's about it for spoilers. Obviously, at the end of the film, Adonis wins, which, you know, I don't know if he's planning on... See, what I'm predicting now with the daughter, they're going to go the route where she becomes the fighter. So I think the next film is going to be kind of like Rocky 5, where, you know, he was trying to train his son to be a boxer, kind of, you know. So I think they're going to go the Rocky 5 route, but obviously it'll be better. So I think Creed 4 will be him training his daughter, and it'll be like women fighters, I guess, just to switch things up, you know, because I feel like the Creed movies do a very good job of not just being the same thing again and again, you know. So I think the next one is probably just going to be like all women fighting, you know, and then, you know, he'll be the trainer and stuff. So, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. And another thing I'm wondering, too, is this going to go all the way to, like, 6 movies? You know, like, the Rocky movies went to 6 movies. I wonder if this is going to be the same case. I'm not really sure how they're going to do it, but I'm pretty sure that's the direction they're heading in, because, with the daughter, because, you know, the way the film ends, it's like, okay, she's going to be a fighter. So, we'll see. That'll probably be Creed 4. She's going to be a deaf fighter, I guess. Yeah, that'll be interesting. So we'll see. But, yeah, I hope Michael B. Jordan, you know, sticks around as the director, because, you know, it would be cool, because like Stallone did. Stallone directed 4 of the 6 Rocky movies. So, yeah, that you know, that's a lot of hard work right there. And, starring and directing and, being a creative force is a lot. So, but yeah, that's about it, Again, let me know what you thought of the film in the comments. And if I missed anything, let me know. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Next week, I will be seeing Scream 6. I cannot wait for that. Man, I cannot wait for that. I'm very excited for Scream. So that one's going to be very, very different because they're in New York City. Scream, Ghostface got a shotgun. So yeah, that's going to be cool. But yeah, thank you guys for watching and have a good one. Bye-bye.